Welcome in to Extreme Talk, presented by Cornett Performance. Let me say this about Cornett Performance, okay? And I'm going to talk about them all year. But Cornett Performance, it's Eli Cornett. He played 8-man football, so he knows the game. And what he wants to focus on is the one-on-one group, and he does one-on-one and group training, speed and agility training. It's football and track focused training only. And then each client or athlete will have their own personal customized program to try and work with you and maybe get you better at anything you need to get better at. It's for ages 10 and up, and he does do online training sessions, and you can reach out to him. It's 45 minutes, 45-minute session or a 60-minute session, and it's $30 per session or per athlete. So you can hit them up. You can get a free 30-minute in-person or online assessment. You can hit them up on Instagram at Cornett Performance. You can shoot them an email, cornettperformance@gmail.com. Hit them up, get a little bit of training, and let's get ready for the season. We've got some football coming up. As always, a big shout-out to Fairlife Core Power Protein, one of my favorite partners that we have here with 8-Man Extreme. Always super supportive, and of course they'll be powering the Extreme Offensive and Defensive Player of the Week awards this year, and each winner will get a case of the 3 flavors of Core Power: chocolate, which is my favorite, vanilla, and strawberry banana. And then we have a t-shirt for them as well, so they'll get all of that. So big shout out to Cornett Performance and Fairlife Core Power Protein for being a partner with us. At this time, I want to bring in the former All-American, the starter at Sacred Heart of Jesus High School. If you don't know it, they're in Jackson. Don't have football anymore, not a school anymore, but still a starter. Still one of the guys that held it down there for the Scarlet Knights. My co-host, Mr. Blake Biggs. Blake, what's up, dude?
Dang.
Well, can you hear me? Hang on. Still a work in progress. Let's see. Can you hear me? There we go. Well, it's a little quiet. Well, Blake, if you can hear me, I'm going to go ahead and we'll jump right into this. And let me get your answer on this. And while you're answering, I'm going to work on getting this audio straight. But we've got some football this weekend, Blake. And there's scrimmages and jamborees going on all over the place. The one here locally, the one that hits a little bit closer to home, at Christian Community School. It's this weekend. They do games, scrimmage, whatever, on Friday night and Saturday night. Blake, did you play in any of the jamborees?
Not.
You did not?
Here they had went up to that CCS Jamboree, but we by that point I had not enrolled in the school, so my team did, but I did not. So I was
gotcha.
not there. So yep.
Well, then, what was all right? Then let me ask it this way: when the guys came back from the jamboree, the coach came back from the jamboree, as practices got going. What were some of the things that the coaches talked about that they were looking for or wanted to try and do with the jamboree?
Gosh.
What were some of the things that y'all worked on maybe after that?
Oh gosh. Golly, that's a that's a long time ago, James. I'm gonna try and see if I remember, but I think I remembered because that was my freshman year. There was kind of the question at the quarterback position with Jake. It was kind of between Jake or Will. And I think Jake ended up winning the starting spot for that. Kind of questions there with running backs. Obviously, we are kind of low on numbers that year. I think we only had like 10, maybe 11 on the roster. So I think a big point with us was getting some more bodies closer to when the school year kind of opened up. We did. We convinced Jalen to walk out there. Eric Wong is another one. There's a kid named Juan. I can't remember his last name. But a lot of seniors just kind of excuse me, kind of came out, and um, it's been so long, James. I'm having a hard time, but
Let's
they
see.
didn't really talk about it. From what I remember.
See, I didn't know. See, you
Uh,
say it's been so long. I haven't
yeah,
played in a jamboree since 2011, so
yeah,
it's really been it really been a minute
yeah.
for me. Um,
Hmm.
okay, well, see, I was just curious because like you said,
Yeah.
from what I remember, it was a lot of um, figuring out any positions that there were still questions of who was going to
Hmm.
be the starter, who was going to be the head guy at a role, and kind of it kind of worked out some kinks there. So it sounds like we had kind of a similar experience coming out of the jamboree.
Right.
So all right, so real quick, and we'll have Coach Josh Whiting from the Augusta Eagles here here in a couple minutes, about 10, about 5 minutes. But real quick, let's run through this last week. Of course, big shout out to everyone who participated in the helmet voting. We're trying to pick the best helmet in 8-man in the South. And so we did North Carolina, Arkansas, and Florida this last week, as well as the Mason-Dixon Conference. So let's run through them real quick. NCISAA winner was JP2, 67% of the vote. And then in North Carolina Christian Independent Conference, Berean Baptist got the win with 51% of the votes. It was a close one. It had to come down. It had to come down to Twitter, and then even that was tied. And then I think Instagram. I take it back. I don't think Instagram was tied. I think it was one vote over. So it just eked it out past Community Christian. Uh, Easily one of the closer votes we've had so far, Blake. And then here in the Mason-Dixon Conference, well, I kind of goofed that one. So let me kill some of these other helmets here. We'll show you the winner right there. Alabama School for the Deaf. Let me put them a little bit bigger here on the screen. There you go. Alabama School for the Deaf. The Silent Warriors won the matchup against Tennessee. Alabama with 76% of the vote. And then we went to Arkansas to do the AAA North, South, and non-sanctioned. AAA North, Blake, Midland Christian, or Midland High School, rather, with the win there. 87% of the vote, one of the higher vote getters we got. AAA South, Woodlawn, 76%. And let's see, there's Woodlawn there. And then AAA non-sanctioned, Marshall High School, 79% of the vote. So some pretty strong voting with Arkansas. And then, so let's see. Did you win? Blake, you didn't win any in Arkansas. None of your
Unfortunately, no.
none of your picks in Arkansas won. Uh,
Dang it.
and then we went to Florida, and they have 6 divisions there. So we did it's the Sunshine Athletic Association, so SSAA. First Coast, Florida School for the Deaf and Blind, won that one, 53% of the vote. Southwest was Donahue Catholic, 68% of the vote. SSAA Gulf Coast, Shorecrest Prep, 63% of the vote. The Bay Division, Real Life Christian Academy, 84% of the vote. Central Division, it was All Saints Academy, 54%. And then the Atlantic Division, a little bit, well, nope, wrong one. Dadgummit. Okay, hang on. I got this. I can fix it. I'm like Bob the Builder. Hold on. I put the wrong one. I put Merritt Island, and it's supposed to be Calvary Chapel. Calvary Chapel, 53% of the vote. Super close voting yesterday with the Florida picks. But, Blake, we got a pretty solid field from the ones I was looking at. Blake, do you know the final tally? Because there's 36. We had 36 matchups. Do you know the final tally? Oh, by the way, real quick before I get to that, AISA, we ran it back. Evangel Montgomery versus Cornerstone Columbiana. Cornerstone Columbiana won that one, Blake. So
Hmm.
updated helmet, got the win. But do you know? Do you have any? Do you want to take a guess
I'm
at the
not.
final tally of your picks versus mine?
I'm not aware of the final tally, James.
All right, so final tally. Drum roll, please. It was close to being tied. It was almost tied, but it was 19-17. My picks.
Oh
Super
well,
close. Super close though.
well. I guess the creator doesn't know his creation very well. So
Well, maybe I just maybe no, maybe it's not that. Maybe I'm just the voice of the people. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, listen, it was close. It
yeah,
was super close to being tied.
yeah. So James, got a question for you.
Okay, go for it.
All right, you won the tally. What do you win?
I think next time, let's see, we'll see each other in Gatlinburg. Maybe just a good sock on the arm, just a good atta pal. I don't know. Bragging rights.
Bragging rights.
Bragging rights. You got an old man. You got an
Th-
old man sense of picks. I don't know, something like that. But like I said, big shout out to everybody who voted on Instagram and Twitter or X, whatever. Um, a ton of participation, so really appreciate it. And we're gonna have one more week of voting, but we will talk about the upcoming voting and the upcoming bracket after I get our guest on here. And again, we don't have a sponsor for the interviews. So if you are interested in becoming a sponsor this year, you can do that. Joining me now is the head coach of the Augusta Eagles for the first time on the show, Coach Josh Whiting. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well, sir.
Man, I'm gonna jump right into it. You took over in 2023, 10-2 that year, 7-5 last year. Some of the first winning I think there may have been one winning season in program history since the start. But you come in, you guys have two winning seasons right there. Um, what has that done for the community of the Augusta Eagles? And because you guys have other sports, but what has it done for the community of homeschoolers there in Augusta, Georgia?
Well, I mean, it's really done a good job, honestly, kind of bringing us together. But I think to say that the wins have done that is kind of backwards. Actually, when I first came in, my goal was to get more of the community involved, more support, more pride, more just more of a community feel to the football program. I think that first year we had about 16 athletes out there from like 8th to 12th grade.
You're a little garbled
Um,
there, Coach. It's a little
can you hear me
garbled.
a little bit better?
Yep, there you go. That's good.
Good. So, I mean, my focus when we first came in was to kind of focus on the community, and then the wins followed. So,
That's fair.
we got the support of our other sports coming out to cheer for us. We got some guys that hadn't even thought about playing football to come over from other sports and play with us, and then of course you've got to have that community sport because it costs money to do all these wonderful things, right? And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
all of that kind of came in that order. So we focused on building the community, building that pride and that team spirit, and the wins kind of followed behind that.
Speaking of that community and everything kind of coming together, a huge development for you guys this season. You're able to go play at EDS Field. Of course, you were over the border in South Carolina the last few seasons, but you guys are able to play there in Augusta this year. Really nice field, great setup. That's got to be huge for you guys.
Oh yeah, we're very very blessed. Obviously the long-term goal would be to have our own field, our own facilities for all of Eagle sports. I think that's every coach that coaches for the Eagles. We're all dreaming of that one day. But we were very very thankful that Midland Valley Recreational Facility was available to us and housed us for a couple of years. But you can't beat playing at home. Like truly in your town. And like you said, it's absolutely gorgeous facility. So Episcopal Day School has been fantastic working with us this year. We're very, very excited to play there. We're very excited for other teams to come in because, again, it's, there's a little bit more resources right there, more restaurants, more hotels. So,
Yeah.
we're hoping to see away teams bring more fans and really kind of pack the place out and just really enjoy that Friday night environment.
Blake, what do you got for Coach?
Hey, Coach, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, sir.
Good. All right. So, Coach for Augusta Eagles. A little bit for our listeners who don't know, it's a homeschool program. So my question for you, Coach, is, from what I'm understanding, reading off your website, is y'all are a Christian program.
Absolutely. Yep.
Absolutely. Yep. So as a coach, how do you incorporate the faith aspect and spiritual growth within your program, Coach?
Well, that is a fantastic question, and I think, again, for me, I don't want to get long-winded, but the long and the short of it is, I was a youth minister many years ago, and I found out very quickly that there's a lot of things that these guys, young teenagers, have vying for their time, and when, as a youth minister, I was getting, a little bit of time on Sunday and a little bit of time on Wednesday. And I always just felt like it just wasn't enough, right? And, I played public school ball and, I've been around that. And I know, there's different environments everywhere. And so I wanted, as the head coach, something that's very important to me is, a lot of these young athletes get to hear a lot about what it means to be a Christian man and how to conduct yourself as a Christian in our society. However, I knew that there was a gap between what they're told on Sundays and Wednesdays, and actually seeing that played out. And so, myself and my staff, that's the one thing that we preach, from the get-go is, we are a Christian-based program. We're non-denominational. I've got all kinds of denominations that play for me, but the bottom line is that we're going to conduct ourselves in a way that brings glory to God, and we want to understand that you can still play football, you can be passionate, you can be athletic, you can be gifted and talented, and you can still be a Christian who represents God through those gifts and talents that he gives you. So we keep that at the focus. Every Monday we have our team chaplain who comes in, does a devotional with the team, and we just try to keep the focus on that and understand that we can play quality football, we can have a quality program with Christ in the center, and those two things are not separate, but they're intertwined.
I feel like that's something every coach kind of has to work through on is how to find that balance. And when you find that balance, I think it's huge for the kids to see that there can be a balance between, I don't have to be this wimpy man, this wimpy male to be a Christian. It's really cool that you guys have been able to find that balance, and a lot of coaches have. Got mad respect for him. I want to back it up a little bit. Obviously, last year you guys had the storms come through, the tornadoes come through, and or hurricanes, and it tore a lot of stuff up. It really did some damage. How big was it for your community to rally around you guys? Because you guys kept the season going, you kept playing, kept pushing through. How huge was it to see everybody come together and work through all the different challenges and difficulties that came with what happened?
Well, I mean, to be completely honest, it was a very difficult time and terrible for many people. I know people in our church that are still having their homes rebuilt because of that. Like
Wow.
it's just been taking that long. But I will say this once again, it was an opportunity to kind of practice what we preach as a Christian organization. So when that happened, of course, within the first couple of days, we're checking on everybody, and we really saw our community come alive there, checking to make sure that everybody had the resources that they need. And then after that, it wasn't very long, and I had dads and athletes, myself, and we were chainsaws and vehicles and hauling gas and going out and trying to clean up and fix things. And football kind of took a back seat. The game itself took a back seat,
Right.
but the team chemistry and development and the community became the center point. And so in the time that you're out there running a chainsaw and getting all dirty and sweaty and hauling trees and seeing, this, houses that are just, you can't even see the house in some of them. And, we
Wow.
got in there and you spend an afternoon and you work and you clean that out the best you can. And then you're done as a team and you look back and you see what you've just accomplished. I think that really impacted the team in a very positive way. And then, of course, the community sees that, it's not just about athletics. It's not just about, playing football, which is, it's a fantastic opportunity for these young men, but there's so much more to it.
Yeah.
It's about building that relationship, building that community, and again, just being there when people need you. And so it was a devastating time, but it was also a great time for these young men to serve their community and to really just, embrace and use. I mean, young men have two things in abundance, right? They have a lot of energy, and they seem to have muscles that don't quit. I know I get tired and sore. These kids, they never seem to get tired and sore. And so, they were out there day after day after day after day, and it was great. I think it was almost 2 weeks straight. Every day we had crews out that were football team with parents and coaches cleaning up debris, cutting down trees, and one of the last things we did was our field. Everything else we did first. We did the families, we did the community. We had people on Facebook reaching out to us, if you could come help, and we did. And then we cleaned up our field and we went back to practice, and I just thought that was such a great time for us.
Coach, you guys have one of the most unique seasons I've seen in my time playing or covering the game, rather. You start the year out last season with a barn burner in Gatlinburg with Tri-Cities Christian, 76-40, and then later on in the season, you guys end up with a 6-0 game, which is almost unheard of in 8-man. Um, the kind of way the season went, where you had all these different kinds of games. What was one of the biggest things you were preaching to your guys going through those, where whether it's a gunfight or whether it's just a trench battle, what is one of the constant messages to your guys that you gave them last year going through everything?
Yeah, we always before the games, we prepare each week for that team we're going to see that week, and 8-man football is unique because you will have those games where it's a track meet and both teams are going up and down the field, and it seems like whoever's got the balls last is going to win. And then you have those other games where it's the defense just shows out, and it's going back and forth, and we saw both those games.
Yeah.
For us, it's I really just preach resilient and play our game. I'm a defensive coach from Jump Street. That's where I kind of hang my hat. And so I tell my guys every week, I said I'd rather win a game 3-0 than have another team put up 30 points against us, but we still win. That's just how I feel about it.
Right.
And I think the guys, they kind of mirror that a little bit. They take pride in the defense, and so we did come up to Tennessee last year, and man, it was a track meet, and Tri-Cities handed it to us, and after that, our defense really solidified and said, yeah, that didn't taste good. We don't like that.
Yeah.
And so, I seen them kind of stiffen up a little bit. And, we're learning too. We're doing some different things, some new concepts, introducing different things every year, really trying to grow the athletes from a football knowledge perspective. And last year we added a lot in, and we saw early that took some time for them to get to grasp, I think. But once it started coming together, we were playing some good football there towards the end. So,
Blake, what do you got for Coach?
Yeah. So coach, just looking at last year's schedule, right around the mid-September mark, y'all were staring at a 1-4 record, and then, come mid-October, you got 7 wins, at the end of October, and y'all turned it around pretty quick. Seems like there was a turning point within that time. Kind of go into that. Was there a turning point that season? And if I'm trying to think, I'm losing my words. Sorry. Talk about that a little bit, and then going into this season, what's been the focus all off season into trying to put together a little state championship push?
yeah. So, I mean, last year, one of the big, pushes for us was our trench play. I mean,
Mm.
for us as Eagles, that's kind of been an area where, we've wanted to improve. We needed to see some things improve. And part of that is a matter of getting the guys to understand concepts and communication. And so we kind of identified early, you work through the practice week, and the guys are, practicing games is so much different. You're going to see so many different things on Friday night. And what we found was, our guys were lacking communication on the field, and we still haven't mastered that. I was just getting on that last week in practice, but communicating with each other about what you're seeing, what the defense is doing to adjust to you or the offense, and having those conversations on the field, and then also communicating them with the coach. And so what we saw, kind of towards that game, fifth week or so, we saw our O-line kind of grit their teeth and say, we're gonna do this, right? And I had a center last year who was a freshman, and then I had a sophomore playing guard and a junior playing guard. So I had a very young line. My sophomore was brand new to football, never played a day in his life, and so I had a very, very young line who just took a little bit of time, and we preach communication, right? Like, you can overcome a lot if you're communicating, but when you're just kind of shell shocked and silent, you're going to struggle. And so we saw that turn around, and that's kind of what we preach. And that's what we've been preaching this year too. Better communication on both sides of the ball. Defense, we've got to communicate. We've got some experience back there on our defensive side specifically, and we want those guys to step up and be leaders on the field, and then also communicate with the coaches what they're seeing on the field, so we can make better play calls.
Coach, I'm gonna ask you a question, and I'm sure you don't have the answer yet. I'm sure you're working on the answer, because it's a pretty heavy question. You might have had a young line last year, but you had 1,000-yard rusher. How do you replace 1,000-yard rusher, or who maybe have been some of the guys to step up? It's a two-part question. How do you replace something like that? And then I want you to talk a little bit about some of the guys who have stepped up over this offseason, guys coming in from last year, or guys that or were leaders last year, or maybe guys that over the offseason have found their voice and have really stepped up and met the challenge.
Yeah. So Eli Poteet, our running back last year, is one of those guys that I think from a coaching perspective is just, I don't want to say he's irreplaceable, but man, he's hard to replace. And he's a 1,000-yard rusher because of his effort and his personality and just the kind of athlete he was.
Yeah.
I mean, he made plays when there was no plays to be made, and then he would get in there, and again, he had that senior, what I call like that senior swagger, and he would just get in there, and those young guys would see that, and they would want to play harder for him. They wanted him to succeed. And when you have a guy who's humble and works like that, and the way he ran in every game is the way he ran in practice. Like,
wow.
That was his effort. And that's just something that's hard to replace. So we miss him. I mean, I miss him in practice, even though, I'm sure I'm going to miss his production throughout the year, but I definitely miss his attitude, his leadership, his swagger in practice. I mean, that's just tough to, kind of replace a guy like that. How are we looking to replace it this year? I'm going to tell you, it's going to be running back by committee, I think. We've got a couple of guys that have really stepped up. One guy that I'm very excited about from that leadership standpoint is Pelham Inglet. He number 16. He is just he's another one of those guys. He's a senior this year. He played outside backer for us last year. Running back 2 for us behind Poteet a little bit, but he has really stepped up this year. I mean, his film, his IQ, his study time has just gone up, and his work ethic on the field is just crazy. I mean, we're blessed to have athletes that come out every day and just grind day in and out, and are just tough mentally and physically. And Pelham's one of those guys. So, we're going to hand him the ball this year. We're going to see what he can do. And then we've got some other leaders on the field. Last year, Nathan Vossler, he was a sophomore quarterback for us, ended up getting hurt about midway through the season, hurt his throwing shoulder, and we lost him the rest of the season. But he's back. He's throwing well. He's making good decisions. Again, football IQ is up. So we're going to hand him the keys to the offense a little bit and see how he does. I'm pretty confident in him. And then, I've got, Jake Ferguson, who was up there last year for the Rising Star, plays O-line for
Oh
us.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
got all the measurables. I mean, he's 6'4", 280, has a size like 16 shoe. That the kid he's a lineman. Like, God chiseled this guy to be a lineman.
Yeah.
And he has, he was one of the guys last year, never played football a day in his life, and so was drinking from a fire hose for him every day. But this year, him and I spent, again, you just see growth, right? The dedication from these guys in the off season, calling me up, Coach, I'm looking at this play, Coach, I'm doing this, Coach, I'm looking at this camp. Will you go to camp with me? I mean, all of that development is happening. Jake's one of those guys who, he's done that, and it earned him a captaincy this year. We named our captains already. Jake's one of those guys. He's really stepped up in the lineman room, and he's a leader in that room. So I think offensively, Jake on the line, Vossler throwing the ball, and Pelham running and kind of being the heartbeat of the offense, I think our offense is going to be solid. Defensive side of the ball, we're blessed to have, several guys that played last year returning and starting again. So, in my secondary, I've got Nathaniel Reese. He's been up to Gatlinburg a couple of times,
Yep,
and
yep.
he's an overall athlete. I mean, the kid's just a grinder. He's an athlete. He has a nose for the football. We've cleaned up some things this off season. I know he's learned a lot, and so we're looking for a good year out of him for his senior year. My son Nathan Whiting plays in the middle, and he's kind of the captain of the defense. And him and I have gone over several things this year. He's put on some weight and been in the weight room. He's looking really solid, moving well. And so for the middle of the defense, I think he's going to shore that up. And again, it's about leadership on the field. Coach can't be on the field. So do you have somebody on the field that can quarterback the defense even when you're not out there? And so that's kind of what we're looking for from him. And then my front line on the defense, we've got several guys that are going to rotate in. I believe in kind of a Georgia-style defensive line where I'm going to try to keep fresh legs on the field and try to keep guys in the backfield. So we've got several guys there. I'm excited to see what they can do. Some young guys this year that'll play some defensive line for us. But I think what we've got this year that we haven't had in years past is really the off season. I mean, our guys embraced the weight room. They embraced film study. They embraced, getting and working out, whether that was, getting out together and doing some workouts or going and seeking out, a trainer or somebody to work with. And it's shown up already in the practice, that we've had this last week or so. And so I've been really happy with that.
See, if they were up here in Tennessee, they could hit up Cornett Performance, get a little work in, and get a little bit to it. Coach, you guys play in the SIFA. You got several good teams in there. You got the Pack Panthers, the defending national champs. They've won the conference championships the last several years. When you look at, obviously, like I said, you got great teams in your conference, but that game on September 26th, how do you get your guys to bring a little bit extra maybe for that game, if that's even the case? Obviously, you want to bring it every week. But, when you got a team at the top, you really want to be the ones to knock them off that mountain. And so is there anything or that specifically you're going to work on with your guys? Do you have maybe a message you want to give them going into a big game like that against a team that, the last several years has really had a great track record?
Yeah, I think, I'm still young in my coaching, and I think the first couple of seasons we kind of did that. We circled some games on our schedule and said, hey, these are games we really want to win, or these are games where we feel like, we can kind of put ourselves on the map. And I think that can be a little bit difficult because ultimately, I've got, we only practice Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then Friday we have games. So, we got basically 2.5 because Thursday's a light practice, 2.5 practices a week. How much are you really going to get done in that week that you didn't do the week before or in the off season or any of those things? So, I guess this year our approach has been a little bit different, starting kind of with my approach to it, and that's, we can't circle that game on the week of September 26th and prepare that week to try to take on, the defending national champions. We have to prepare in the off season. We have to prepare, in January to August, and that's when you find out if you're going to be prepared, if you're going to be ready to do that. So you got to be in the weight room, you got to be in a film study, you got to be going to those clinics, you got to be getting out there to those camps, getting that football IQ up, getting that experience that they're getting. Those guys play a lot of football. They play really good football, and they're very well coached, great staff over there. And I've learned a lot from them, and so my focus has really been this year, not so much trying to prepare in season for those big games, but making sure we've been preparing off season to have that season. And then the pressure kind of comes off, I think, because we can say, okay, guys, well, we're prepared. Now we're going to play Eagles football. We're not going to try to play football to beat somebody. We're going to try to play Eagles football and make them come beat us.
That's fair.
And so, that's kind of been a mind switch for me this year is, I think that, circling those games, or certainly there's still games on my schedule that I go, okay, I'm excited for this game. I want, this is a game that I think that, will be a great game for us. But in the same token, it's understanding, like, if we wait till that week to get ready, I think we're too late already. So
That's fair. That's a fair point. Blake, what you got for Coach?
Yeah, Coach. Kind of like you said with like game planning and such. I'm kind of backpedaling here. With just you being in charge of a homeschool program, your roster, is very variable going into each year. How do you go about tailoring your both offense and defense based on the kind of fit players, kind of play style? How do you go about that?
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest challenges, at least for me as a coach, especially coming, when I first started, I came on the Eagles as the defensive coordinator, coming from 11-man ball. I coached, I just played, and so I kind of came over, and I wasn't really sure about this 8-man thing and how 11-man translated and all that. And, I came out and I had a plan, right? And I really didn't consider the athletes in my plan. It was just, I have a plan, we're going to execute the plan. And I quickly learned that that doesn't always work. And so the last couple of years, it's a little bit touch and go. The off season, the coaches and I get together, and we definitely have, an idea. We know what we want to run. We know what type of offense we want to run. But ultimately, we also know, you may be counting on a guy, and that guy winds up in private school, and that's wonderful for his family. And sometimes those decisions have to be made. But now he's not on your roster. Or conversely, somebody else, and we're in a military community too, so sometimes you get, a military family moves in, and now you have an athlete you didn't even know you were going to have. And how do you work them in? So, we're pretty pliable up until we get to kind of that fall time frame. We use our spring practice to kind of see what we've got, to kind of develop, okay, this is the defense we think we can run. This is where we think we're going to have guys. But I'll be honest, I just set my depth chart on Friday. We didn't even have our depth chart set. We were just, working through who's going to be where. Again, just because I believe you have to be a little bit pliable. And I think sometimes, too, even with that depth chart, it keeps guys hungry. If they come out and they see that depth chart come out too early, they're like, oh, well, so-and-so's already got that spot, so maybe I shouldn't condition as hard because, it's not going to matter. We try to keep that competition going all year long, a very competitive atmosphere. And so, that's kind of the way we tailor it. Like I said, I'm a defensive guy, so I'm kind of defensive minded first, and then I come back to offense second. And so when it comes to the offense, I'm one of those coaches who says, when you throw the ball, 3 things can happen, or 2 are bad. So I'm not the razzle dazzle coach throwing the ball all over the field most of the time, but you know what? If I've got 2 or 3 receivers that are catching and they can run, and I got a quarterback that can get it there, well, then we're going to throw the ball. We're going to do what we have to do to win games. So I try not to be too committed to being stuck in my ways, or we have to run this. I try to make sure that we're operating. I tell the guys, and when a parent comes and talks to me about playing football, I tell them the same thing. I tell them, it's my job as a coach and my staff's job as coaches to look at your athlete and find the best way to help them be successful. Sometimes that's them not playing the position they don't want to play. Hey, listen, I understand you want to be a wide receiver, but you're 250 pounds, and you'd be a much better, guard or nose guard or defensive end or something like that. Sometimes we have to have those conversations, and as coaches, I think sometimes you have to have that conversation too. Like, hey, this is what I want to do, but to be successful, we need to do something else. So,
Couple
we
questions.
try to be pliable.
Yeah, for sure. Couple questions left, Coach. Getting to kick the season off with Gatlinburg, we talked about how you guys were able to go up there last year and kick the season off there. Big platform, a big matchup. You guys are able to do that again this year against the Tennessee Tigers. How excited are the guys to get to go, play somebody brand new that they've never played before, and do it in an environment like that where, it's a great way to kick off the season. How excited are the guys for that?
Oh, the athletes are absolutely stoked about it. The parents love it. It's become a huge, huge part of our, something that everybody looks forward to. Last year we went up there and, we really embraced it as an opportunity. Again, like as a homeschool team, we're not in the hallways together. We're not in classes together the same way that, public school and private school would be. So that team bonding has to happen in a different way. So we stay up there at Wayfloy Mountain Village, and they take great care of us, and we make it a team event there. And we stay up there for a couple of days, and we really embrace that opportunity up there. And then, Rocky Top puts on an amazing, it's just an amazing weekend of football.
They do a great job.
Fellowship. It's crazy. And so when we got the opportunity to come back this year, that was, honestly, we weren't even all the way done with the season last year. And athletes asking me, "Hey, coach, are we going back up to 15 next year for our opening game?" And I was like, "Oh no, we got to be invited, right?"
Yeah.
So we got the invite. I put it out in the group, and the guys were just stoked. They were absolutely excited. And then to play a team like Tennessee Tigers, we were just really excited. They've got some athletes on that team, and we're excited for that matchup and what that means for both of our programs, and so it's just a great opportunity. Everybody looks forward to it.
Blake, I think you got one more question for Coach.
Yeah, Coach. Actually, two more.
Fair enough, two
this
more.
This next question will be kind of based on your answer. Coach, are you a big golf guy?
I'm actually not a big golf guy at all. Yep, I'm not. I know I live in Augusta and home of the Masters, and I've got guys on my staff that are huge into golf. One of my coaches went all the way over to Scotland this year to play some golf. It was crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, he played at the old course and told me all about it, and it totally didn't land because I'm just not a golf guy. But
yeah, well, I was going to ask something related to that, but scratch that. But got to ask you, Coach, and James, I am going to bring this back for you. Pre-game or post-game meal, Coach?
Oh man.
If you can only pick one.
Yeah, you got to pick one.
I got to go with that post-game meal. It's and then what I'll tell you, it was a tradition, and this is going to sound really horrible. It was a tradition when I took over the team. Again, we were very small, about 18. They would always go to Waffle House after the game and eat there. And my wife hates Waffle House.
Really?
So absolutely, she hates Waffle House. She is not a fan. And then as the team kind of grew and our roster got bigger, we quickly found out that it's hard to find a Waffle House where you can fit 25 or 30 athletes plus their mom and dad and their siblings and the cheerleaders into. So we've kind of transitioned away from Waffle House, and we usually wind up at Mexican. So we usually do Mexican post game, and I tell you what, the environment and hearing all the athletes and everybody, it's honestly, it's what keeps me coming back into this every year. It's so amazing.
See, and you can just drink a Fairlife Core Power before the game, get you a little protein, a little something in your belly before the game, and then you can go eat the post-game meal. There you go.
Yep, I'm not a big pregame food guy because I still get butterflies coaching, and I'm kind of one of those coaches just see me up there getting my steps in on them sidelines, up and back and forth. So I need to keep it light.
Well, and I had a coach tell me one time that his whole philosophy was when you lose the butterflies, it's probably time to get away. Probably time to keep going.
Yep.
One last question, Coach. Going into this year, you guys have had a whole off season. You've got your captains, you got your leaders set up, and you guys are getting ready to go. What's the team motto going into this year? Or is it a word? Is it a phrase? Is it something specific you guys have settled on?
Oh yeah, it's be intentional. Everything we do is be intentional. From our warm-ups, the way we walk onto the field, the way we carry ourselves, everything we do is intentional. It's very focused, very intentional. We don't let things happen to us. We don't have a victim mindset. We're very intentional. We're focused on what we need to do. I want the guys, see that and be crisp in the way that they execute. And like I said, everything from our warm-ups. We're still out there making corrections in our warm-ups, making sure that the guys' knees are coming high enough, making sure that they're not talking during the cool down. And again, not talking, but you know what I mean. That
Right.
it's focused, right? It's intentional. It's with purpose. And so this year, our I guess our team motto would be intentional.
I like it. I like it. Coach, I appreciate you hopping on with us, man. I'm excited to see y'all play in Gatlinburg and excited to see what you guys do this season.
Yes, sir. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Appreciate you, Coach. That's Coach Josh Whiting from the Augusta Eagles. Blake, he got some good stuff.
Yeah, he did.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And of course, you can see them kick off their season on August the 16th up in Gatlinburg, right here on 8 Man Extreme. They'll be taking on the Tennessee Tigers, and I think they have the 1 o'clock slot. 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central. So you'll get to see them kick off their season there. Blake, I want to transition a little bit, talking about we had the helmet. We recapped how the helmet voting went last week. So we're done with all the preliminary setups and voting, and we've gone through every division, region, association, conference, who's in where, who's independent, all that. So we've really done an exhaustive layout of it, I feel like, and so we've done voting on some matchups. So right now I want to bring up our bracket. Let me see. Let me get this fired up. There we go. And I know it's kind of small on the screen. If you go full screen, you might be able to see it just a hair better. So we ended up with 36 teams, 36 helmets that got through all the voting. And so we're going to do this March Madness style. We've got 4 play-in games, 4 play-in matchups that we're going to post tomorrow, Blake. And you guys can vote on those. And then over the course of this week, we'll do, after those 4 play-in games, we'll be down to 32 teams. So we'll do a round of 32, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4, and then the championship. And we should be able to name the champion this week. But Blake, let's look at these first 4 matchups, and let me pull it up real fast. So the first matchup to talk about is going to be All Saints Academy and Berean Christian. It's not Berean Baptist, Berean Christian. All Saints Academy finished with 54. They won their matchup, 54% of the votes. Berean with 51%. And Blake, I think you picked All Saints, and I think I picked Berean. So we're still going head to head. But a nice little red and black matchup, Blake.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I like it.
There's quite a few Florida teams in this playing spot too.
There is. The next one, speaking of, let's see. Let's go down. The next play-in is the Coastal Hurricanes and Wardlaw Academy. Coastal coming out of Georgia, Wardlaw coming out of South Carolina. Coastal got 53% of the vote, and Wardlaw with 52% of the vote. So barely kind of eked out wins in their matchups. But I didn't even mean for this to happen, Blake. But you got a couple red helmet matchups, couple black helmet matchups. You know, who's the superior black helmet. But and again, I think this one ended up me versus you, Blake. I think you picked Coastal and I picked Wardlaw in the matchup. So we'll go head to head. We'll go head to head again there. And then the third matchup is going to be Cornerstone Christian Columbiana and Calvary Chapel Academy out of Florida. Um, Cornerstone, Columbiana, 53%, as well as Calvary Chapel. And the tiebreaker there was on Twitter, as well as for Coastal and then Florida School for the Deaf and Blind, which we'll cover in a second. All four of them won with 53% of the vote. So then it went to Twitter. One of them got 100% of the vote on Twitter. One of them got like 80, one got 75, and one got 50. So that's how we did the tiebreakers there. So as opposed to the first two, all red, all black, pretty contrasting styles here, Blake. This one's interesting. I'm interested. I think Calvary, I think, was kind of a dark horse, but I think the old school Eagles look, I think, is what kind of helps them a little bit.
Yeah, I was surprised they got the pick over Merritt Island. That was a shock. I felt like Merritt Island had the best look, honestly, in Florida, besides Florida School for the Deaf, which I'm surprised that one is in the play-in.
So Florida, like you said, Florida School for the Deaf and Blind, and Humphreys Academy out of Mississippi. That's the last Final Four matchup. Humphreys with 51%, but they won Twitter. Excuse me, and then Florida School for the Deaf and Blind there. So couple white and red matchups. So really the only one that's not similar is this one, Cornerstone and Calvary. And it is interesting you brought up Merritt Island. Cornerstone, I feel like Cornerstone and Merritt Island pretty kind of similar setup with their helmet with the stripe going on. For what it's worth, I did show my wife the Cornerstone helmet, and she goes, "Why is it so busy?" I said, "That's what I said." So at least we're on the same page there. Does Allie have a favorite so far? Has she seen any of them?
She's seen all of them. I shared the drive to her, and she's kind of seen how, like, I spent, a couple weeks, to put it lightly, working on all this. But I don't know. I can ask her and talk about it.
So, and real quick, couple of the you see the bracket there on the screen. So we did the highest vote getter, or how did you split the bracket up?
So I did it so the percentage, it was the highest percentage of vote got the higher seed.
Okay.
So I'm trying to think. You shared the thing with me.
So like Wilkinson County. So like Wilkinson County is Midland, Real Life, and Victory are all 1 seeds.
Wait, Victory?
Well, let's see. Hang on.
No. It's 1 through 30. It's 1 through 28 is seeded, and then 29 to 36 is play-in qualifier.
Gotcha.
Since that's the lowest. Yeah.
Well, I was trying to figure out who technically would be like the 1 seed.
The 1 seed is Wilkinson.
Okay.
And then it's Midland with 87. Wilkinson had 93. Midland 87. Real Life 84. Victory 79. And then so on and so forth.
So that's what I'm saying. In terms of having 4 divisions, those 4 are the quote-unquote 1 seeds in each of those divisions, and then you went from there. Okay, that makes sense. Gotcha.
Yeah, I guess you could say. I just did it 1 through 28, and then the play-in. I think we agreed that the play-in would be the lowest percent would play the higher seed, right?
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, you're right. Okay, so yeah, there you go. Number one seeds, Wilkinson County Christian out of Mississippi. They got 93%. Midland High School out of Arkansas with 87. Real Life Christian out of Florida with 84. And then Victory Christian also out of they're out of South Carolina. 79%. So 4 different states for their top 4 there, Blake. Pretty spread out. I'm looking forward to seeing how this week goes. I've been so surprised with the voting the last 3 weeks. I know you have too. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this all plays out. This is a lot of fun.
I'm seeing a bunch of upsets here, James.
You think so?
I'm looking. Yeah, no. There's also some really, really good matchups. Rappahannock, that they might pull it off an upset. I think.
Let's see who are they playing.
I have Meridian twice on here, James, so I had to fix that. I left somebody So we will get
Uh-oh.
that fixed. Yeah, we'll
Oh,
get that fixed though.
Rappahannock. I see it. Rappahannock and Woodland. Or Woodlawn.
No, I have Meridian on here twice accidentally. So, but I'll
No,
get that
not
fixed.
you.
That's
Are you
nothing.
talking about
Yeah.
down at the bottom right?
I'm talking both sides. Meridian's, they play Covenant, and then I accidentally have them playing Fullington. It's just an error on my part. I'll get that fixed.
Oh,
I
gotcha,
accidentally have
gotcha. I
somebody
see what
else.
you're saying.
That's
I
my
see what you're saying.
apology.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. You're good. I see what you're
Yeah.
saying though. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There really is some pretty fun matchups here. I think Covenant or Meridian would be pretty good. I'm trying to think. JP2 and Riverside. Whoever Wilkinson has to play Hillcrest and Deer Creek. That's a MAIS. Kind of a regional, I guess.
Yeah.
The word for it. I don't know. I'm pretty interested to see how this goes, James.
Alabama School for the Deaf and American Sports Prep. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, that's an in-state.
Let's see, Arkansas Christian and Calhoun Academy. That'd be a good one. Yeah, this is fun. I like this. Let me see if I can go down, see a couple more. And I know it's small on the screen, and I know you all can't see that, but let's see, what is that? Acadiana Christian and Citizens Christian, I think. Yeah. Acadiana and
Yep.
Citizens,
Mhm.
yeah. Marshall High School versus Tabernacle Christian. That's a fun one. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll need a lot of participation from y'all here over the next few days as we try to pick the best helmet in 8-man football in the South. There's an all Florida matchup there for you, Blake. Donahue and Shorecrest Prep.
Yep.
All Florida matchup there. Let's see, DeSoto. DeSoto and Tallulah, MAIS matchup. JDA and Tabernacle. I'm sorry, JDA and Lighthouse Warriors. You mentioned Hillcrest and Deer Creek. Let's see. I feel like there's one more I'm missing.
Yeah.
No, that's Alabama School for the Deaf. Okay. I didn't realize how close Deer Creek and Alabama School for the Deaf was.
James, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. You there?
Hey, yeah, you're just kind of choppy. Sorry.
Okay, I got you. I was just saying
that's better.
I didn't realize how close Deer Creek and Alabama School for the Deaf was.
Yeah, no. One thing I kind of wanted to point out that I just noticed. I think geographically, Woodlawn is the farthest west team, and then Rappahannock is the farthest east.
Arkansas.
And they're matched up in the first. They're matched up in the first round.
Yeah. There you go.
A 14-and-a-half-hour drive.
Wow.
From
You know
each other,
what's interesting too, like the helmets match, or obviously they're matching up helmet versus helmet. It'd be cool to see some of these matchups, in real life too.
In real life, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You said Fullington was supposed to play Meridian, or was it the other one that was supposed to play Meridian? Covenant.
Covenant is supposed to play Meridian. I got to figure out who is actually supposed to play Fullington. I just got the seed mixed up, and that's my apology.
No, you're good. You're good.
So I'm going to have to look at the sheet.
Yeah, see, that'd be an interesting one, too.
I think it's River Oaks. It's River Oaks.
Okay, yep.
I can fix that real quick.
I'm just
River Oaks, yep.
I'm just realizing, that I didn't see River Oaks on there. So there you go. Well, big shout out, like I said, everybody who voted, participated. It's a lot of fun. Kind of a nerdy thing, but hey, you know what? It's a great way to get to the season. Let's figure out who's got the best helmet. So we'll go from there. But Blake, great conversation with Coach Whiting.
Yep.
Getting ready for the Black Bear Brawl. It's coming up, not this weekend, but the next 2 weekends. And then, like I said, I know there's a lot of scrimmages, 7-on-7s. If you've got, or 5-on-5s, either way. If you got 7-on-7, 5-on-5 scrimmages, jamborees, whatever. If you got those going on, shoot them over to us. Shoot some pictures. We'd love to share them on social media. Like I said, the one that hits close to home is the one at CCS this upcoming weekend. On Friday and Saturday, and because I have the info, I'm going to go through this real quick. Let's see. Had the picture pulled up of the matchups. Friday, you've got Christian Community and the Tennessee Tigers, and then Tennessee Tigers, South Haven Christian, South Haven Lancaster, and then Lancaster CCS to close out Friday. And then you've got CCS Tennessee Heat and Tigers, and then a couple JV matchups, Tigers CCS, CCS Pleasant View South Haven, and then you end the night the way they have the last several years with South Haven and CCS Battle of Robertson County, or Battle of 76 rather, in that jamboree. So some really good. Listen, just football's back. Just football on the field with helmets that are different, colors hitting each other. That's the best part of this. It's here, and I love it. One more thing to go over. We do have the Seek Media Day coming up on Saturday at 1 p.m. We'll have it right here on our YouTube channel, and excited to have that and get to hear from some of the Seek teams. And then next Wednesday on the 6th, we have the ACSE Media Day, and I believe that's on the ACSE's YouTube channel, so you can watch that. I think it starts at 10 a.m. Central, if I remember correctly. So you'll get to hear from the teams in the ACSE. A lot of other media days. Like, I don't know if you saw this. A lot of other media days going on with just high school football outlets, and I know Florida did a lot of them. Alabama did a couple, and they're including the 8-man teams, which I love to see. I'd love to see these people, these guys, get a chance to talk. But yeah, I love it. Football's here, and media day, just a great time to hear from some of the guys. Blake, you never got to be in a media day, but would you have tried to be one of the guys to go talk in it, or not really?
I'm sure I wouldn't have minded it, but that just sounds like something we probably would not have been doing.
Fair enough. Well, I obviously, and it wasn't around back then, but
yeah,
try to get it going. So, but that will do it for Extreme Talk presented by Cornett Performance. Again, you can reach out to them, Cornett Performance @gmail.com. You can hit them up on social media on Instagram, Cornett Performance on Instagram, and a big shout out to Fairlife Core Power Protein. Always a great partner with us. Football's here this weekend. We got some helmets. We got some hats banging. For Blake Biggs, I'm James Shannon. Thank you so much for listening. See ya!